One of the topics that viewers often ask about, and that was recently brought once again to my attention by well-loved members Ruth Zopari and Rhino through the Foolish Fish Discord server, is the topic of magic in relation to mental health. It's my belief that magic is a wide-ranging discipline that encompasses all levels of the human experience, including the material, the mental, as well as the spiritual, and that necessarily magic and the realm of mental health will have some overlap. It's a complicated topic that requires as many subtle variations and exceptions as there are individuals. But since I've been asked for my opinions on the matter, well, let me share those here. With a caveat that I am not a qualified mental health professional, and so my opinions should not be confused for authoritative facts. Let me start by emphasizing quite clearly what I do believe should be the most important takeaway for anyone watching, whether you decide to stick around for the rest of the video or not. If you take nothing else away from this video, please hear me when I say that magic is not a substitute for qualified professional help, and in many cases should be avoided altogether when a person isn't starting off from what would commonly be thought of as a healthy mental baseline. That's the main message, and I'll go into a bit more detail, but first of all, while you're here, can I encourage you to hit the like button down there and subscribe? I'd really appreciate it if you would, because it helps these videos get seen. You know the drill. And also, memberships start at just $2 a month for those of you who like watching my videos and feel you can afford to support me so I can continue making more. And you can find out more about memberships by hitting the join button next to the subscribe button. Okay, that's my plug done. Back to the important stuff. The processes and prescriptions of a magical practice are generally designed with a mentally healthy practitioner in mind. By this, I certainly don't mean that magic is a practice that is closed to neurodivergent individuals. That's not what I mean at all, and I hope viewers will be able to acknowledge the difference between neurodivergence and mental illness. That's not to say either that a neurodivergent individual cannot also have a poor mental health. One obviously does not prevent the other, but they are two separate, unequivalent things. What I am saying is that many magical practices are designed to erode, to cause a thinning in the veil between the physical and the non-physical worlds. It's a tool that's far from being what modern society might call safe. It was never designed for general popular use. And in fact, most traditions are imparted directly, in person, privately, from a teacher to a student, with the teacher able to support the student through the labyrinth of pitfalls along the way. However, in the light of modern Western society, the distrust that has naturally arisen towards gurus due to undeniable abuses of this dynamic, and also in the light of the disintegration of local communities in the West, novices have increasingly turned to books and online material created for a wide audience. So the opposite of that one-to-one mentorship that used to be the norm. It comes with its advantages, of course, such as availability, convenience, no more reliance on another person with his or her own potential weaknesses. But of course, there's also a downside. No more personalized approach. No more close monitoring and adapting the practitioner's learning path. No more taking care of their continued progress. And naturally, no more watching out for their mental health. There are exceptions to this rule. The fantastic creator of the Quareia course, Josephine McCarthy, had both the physical and mental health of her apprentices very firmly in mind when she wrote the course. And it's no coincidence that such a sizable proportion of the apprentice book is dedicated to developing not just a merely healthy mind, but actually the positively fit mind necessary to handle the strains of what she calls advanced magic. Needless to say, the majority of people who start her excellent, beautifully designed, and did I mention free course, quickly give up to fall back onto quick 5-minute recipe magic of little impact. Let me also take the opportunity to direct you to Josephine McCarthy's fantastic supplementary book, Magical Healing, a health survival guide for occultists, pagans, healers, and tarot readers. Yes, it is as good as you imagine, and possibly even better. Just take a look at the contents page and you'll know what I'm talking about. But Josephine is one of just a handful of caring exceptions in an ocean of magical authors who just want to share their processes and leave you to it. On the whole, modern practitioners are expected to watch out for their own mental health, which I think may be a naive thing to expect, since esoteric topics tend to be particularly appealing to individuals with poor mental health. I had the privilege recently of listening to a conversation between several practitioners in which one of the people talking was a very well-loved, very highly accomplished practitioner with decades of experience of work with chthonic entities. And this person was talking about how you never get used to the terror that comes with certain encounters. The immediate reaction is involuntary, it's physiological and unavoidable. However, what this practitioner was also saying was that thanks to systematically practicing various body and mind disciplining forms of yoga and meditation for many years, they were usually able to use breathing techniques and certain physiological as well as mental methods to find ways back into a position of self-control and able to complete the encounter in due form. You can see how someone who might not have that well-established base of grounding techniques might run into very frightening problems without the right amount of caution. Alright, so another big question. Can practicing magic without care lead a person with a healthy mental makeup to develop poor mental health? Yes, absolutely. Will it do so by default? I can't answer that, but looking at historical evidence, I'd say that the risk is definitely there. Now, if the risk is high for someone starting from a healthy, or maybe a better word might be a grounded mental makeup, how much higher will that risk be for someone who doesn't have such a naturally thick or stable veil between the worlds, so to speak? The work for such a person should rather be aimed at being able to thicken and stabilize that veil so that it can provide essential protection, essential grounding when necessary, not further erode it. And the right person to help you achieve that is a qualified mental health professional, not a purveyor of fine natural oils and essences. Finally, I'll point out that one of the pieces of advice that I gave in my video about magical self-care was to ensure that you have a non-magical hobby that forces you to interact with the material world in a fully engaged, loving and sustained way. Something like gardening or woodwork, or a non-meditative type of sport, preferably even, horror of horrors, a team sport. I think that of all the advice that I gave in that video, that's probably the most important one, and here's why. Every level of existence is dependent on every other level, and when the magic practitioner forsakes the material realm to focus exclusively on the mental and spiritual realms, that is as unhealthy as it is to focus exclusively on the physical realm. Having a hobby, a regular activity that forces you not only to interact with, but to pay close attention to the physical realm, has a grounding effect that really shouldn't be neglected. So to summarize, if you're suffering from mental discomfort of any kind, qualified professional help is always the way to go, no matter how trivial or insignificant that discomfort might seem to you. Your mind is extremely important, and it's essential to keep it in good shape. Really, if you suspect any kind of deterioration in your mental health, speak to a doctor who's qualified to help. That's never something you'll regret. Well, on the contrary. And if you're currently mentally healthy and you have a magical practice or are considering taking up a magical practice, then include in your routine one or more activities that will systematically ground you and one or more activities that will build up your mental resilience, such as mindfulness meditation or any or all of the terrific exercises described in the opening chapters of the Quareia curriculum. There we are. I told you it would be a short one. Sometimes the shorter and simpler the better. As I was mentioning at the beginning of the video, there's a whole community of like-minded practitioners sharing ideas and helping each other out on the Foolish Fish Discord server, which is one of the perks of being a Foolish Fish member. And you can find the details about how to become a member for as little as $2 a month down in the description, as well as the full instructions on how to access the Discord server once you've signed up. Do take a moment to hit the like button if you've enjoyed this video, and if you haven't done so already, don't forget to click the little bell next to the subscribe button so that you get shown my videos on your YouTube homepage as soon as they're published. As always, my deepest gratitude goes out to every one of you for taking the time to watch, and especially to the members who make this channel sustainable. I really appreciate your support so much, and hopefully this video will be of at least some use to you. Thanks again everyone for your time, and see you very soon with another video.